The strongest occupation is not a hero or a sage, but an appraiser. Provisional is an isekai with about a balance of 80% comedy and silliness and 20% cringe. The first episode was actually pretty funny, aside from when you're worrying about Amalia's sweater fighting for dear life every 5 seconds. Although I think I'm more disturbed by the Debbie company and Amalia's maid. Luckily, these elements are lightly sprinkled in every so often. There are also Shota vibes, as even though Hibiki is 16, he comes off much younger and he gets officially dubbed the older lady killer. But when it's not being cringy, the show is rather upbeat. There weren't any high stakes or dramatic tones, and most of the time the story is more about adventuring shenanigans than it is about pursuing a goal. It's the kind of isekai where Hibiki regularly expresses the desire to find a way home, but only comes up with the idea of a plan to do so. This first season is more about establishing himself in this new world and working on the ghosts of Claude's past. I wouldn't say that they did anything innovative with Hibiki's appraisal ability or skills in general, but the UI support menu being sentient was an interesting addition.
This was bordering on him not doing anything for himself, and rather he just left it up to reacting to what the menu told him to do, with Sapo-chan being the real brains of the operation.
So your enjoyment of the show will come down to if you like the comedy style and your connection to these characters. While Hibiki can be overpowered, the story does set some limitations on him. Like, he needs other people's MP to be donated so that he can use spells, and there are time limits on effects. But even though he has access to a lot of power, Hibiki can be a little dumb and clumsy. I would actually argue that he doesn't appraise often enough, and it gets his party into trouble sometimes.
It felt weird that he had to get a trap detection skill when his appraisal would have detected the traps on his own if he used it more.
I think if they had maintained the level of higher energy and comedy from the first 4-ish episodes, then the show would have been improved. And they didn't need to bring his friends from Japan into the mix yet, because they didn't get utilized and there was already so much going on without them. It's like there's so many forks in the road of his life path that they can't decide which story option to fully pursue, so in a way the narrative feels a little scattered.
It really did feel like a waste, since his friends are one of the main driving forces for him wanting to get back home. So having the only interaction between them and him this season is him hearing their party name, which had no significance to their characters that Hibiki or the audience could pick up on, made them feel very unnecessary for this season's story.
The ending left so much up in the air, with his party being separated in the middle of dungeon busting and his friends still looking for him. Plus there's so much more to flesh out with the gods and their meddling in this world in the name of balance.
The show had a decent start, but it felt very throw the pasta at the wall and see what sticks, especially with the ending.
There's some potential to tighten up the storytelling to make it more interesting in the future, but despite its shortcomings, I wasn't bored watching it and I never considered dropping it. So this was an average 5 out of 10.